Welcome to This Explainer. We're going to break down the actual, on-the-ground reality of moving to the Netherlands in 2026. Right now, it's a massive balancing act between a world-class career ecosystem and a historically complex housing market. Listen, if you're planning a move and relying on outdated checklists from 2023, you can just go ahead and toss those out. They simply won't cut it anymore. You really need to understand the empirical realities of current legislation, tax adjustments, and regional economic shifts if you want to actually survive and thrive.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. 1. The Dutch paradox. 2. The tech boom. 3. The housing reality. 4. Visas and taxes. And 5. Your action plan. This structure is going to equip you with the practical takeaways, the exact timelines, and the strategies you need for your relocation.
Section 1. The Dutch paradox. So we've got to start by addressing the elephant in the room regarding the realities of relocating this year.
There is a massive core tension happening right now. It's like a giant tug-of-war. On one side of the scale, you get access to an incredibly lucrative, technologically advanced job market driven by global innovation corridors. Plus, you get that fantastic Dutch quality of life, even if you do have to brave the rain on one of the country's 23 million bicycles. But on the other side of that same scale, you have to navigate a severe, structurally constrained housing sector where extreme demand is completely outstripping supply. It is a highly congested market that demands a ton of patience and serious financial readiness.
Section 2. The tech and engineering boom. Let's look at the upside, because the Dutch employment landscape remains incredibly robust right now, with structural labor shortages driving major corporate demand for your skills. 2.5 billion euros. That is a staggering amount of money. It represents Project Beethoven, which is a joint public-private investment supercharging the Brainport Eindhoven region and the TU Eindhoven ecosystem to scale up tech innovation. The geographic gravity of Dutch tech has basically shifted toward the southeast to support giants like ASML. For you, this means an influx of capital directly into infrastructure, education, and expedited residential development.
If you're a specialist in hardware, machine learning, or clean tech, these sectors are fiercely competing for international talent right now. We're looking at lithography and microelectronics in semiconductors, software architecture in AI, and smart grid integration in sustainable energy. And because the housing crisis actually threatens talent retention, employers aren't just handing out standard signing bonuses anymore. They're frequently offering structured relocation support packages just to win you over.
Section 3. The housing market reality. Now, let's look at the other side of the paradox. You really need to understand the impact of the Affordable Rent Act, or Wet Betaalbare Huur. This legislation expanded the country's point-based valuation system to essentially cap prices on mid-market rental properties. Ironically, while it was intended to protect tenants from predatory pricing, this law accidentally caused a missing middle. Rather than renting out their properties at legally capped rates, many private landlords and institutional investors just chose to sell off their portfolios.
So, this missing middle has created a highly polarized landscape. The regulated mid-market might look incredibly affordable on paper, but in reality, it is virtually impossible to secure due to extreme scarcity. Because of this, you are almost always forced into the liberalized premium sector. These properties are entirely unregulated, they command exceptional premiums, and securing one is often defined by high-stakes, extremely stressful bidding wars.
Section 4. Visas, taxes, and thresholds. Let's move over to the bureaucratic realities of making this move happen. If you're going to navigate this paradox successfully, you need to know exactly how the Immigration Service, the IND, views your income. To qualify as a highly skilled migrant, your base salary absolutely must hit these precise updated thresholds for 2026. For those 30 and older, it's 5,942 euros gross per month. Under 30, 4,357 euros. And for orientation year graduates, it's 3,122 euros. And listen, this is absolutely crucial. These figures explicitly exclude the mandatory 8% holiday allowance. You have to meet these baselines directly with your regular gross pay.
This brings us to a massive payroll trap. The IND evaluates your SV loan, which is your Social Security wage. You cannot fall into the trap of relying on fluctuating bonuses or non-standard allowances to meet your threshold, because they often just won't count. Furthermore, if you're planning to sponsor a partner, the IND generally requires that your employment contract be valid for at least 12 months at the exact moment your application is processed. We also have to talk about taxes. While the famous 30% tax-free allowance for incoming expats still exists, legislation schedules it to drop to 27% by 2027. More importantly, the historical phase-out of the partial non-resident status exposes high earners to Box 3 asset taxes. That is essentially a wealth tax on your global savings and investment portfolios. Bottom line, your long-term net income might decrease slightly compared to historical baselines, making updated 2026 salary calculators an absolute necessity.
Section 5. Your Relocation Action Plan. Knowing all of this, how do you actually survive the relocation and secure your footing?
Let me bust a very common myth right now. Can you move without a job just to look for housing? Unless you are an EU or EEA citizen, arriving without a sponsor is highly risky. And honestly, even for EU citizens, it's incredibly difficult. Landlords and real estate agents routinely demand an employment contract showing gross earnings equal to 3 to 4 times the monthly rent. It's a staggering requirement, but without a secure job on paper meeting that multiple, your chances of signing a lease are practically zero.
Realistically, based on current data, you should expect to spend between 1 to 3 months finding a stable, long-term rental property. Because of this long timeline, negotiating 1 to 3 months of guaranteed temporary corporate housing in your initial job offer is a literal lifesaver. It is absolutely critical. It buys you the buffer time you desperately need to do active viewings without panicking.
Here is your game plan. Execute these 3 strategic moves. First, broaden your geographic scope. Look beyond Amsterdam and Utrecht to towns like Haarlem, Almere, Amersfoort, or the suburbs of Eindhoven. The Dutch rail network is phenomenal, making commutes from these towns highly viable. Second, treat the housing search like a second job. Have your paperwork, employment contract, and bank statements ready as a single PDF so you can apply instantly. And third, prioritize getting your BSN.
De inschrijven mogelijk is the golden rule of Dutch renting. It means municipal registration is permitted. Any rental contract you sign absolutely must explicitly allow for this. If it doesn't, or if you fall for an illegal sublet, you cannot get your BSN. And without a BSN, you cannot legally work and you cannot open a local bank account. It is the linchpin of the whole shebang.
The 2026 Dutch paradox demands financial readiness, organization, and above all, grit. The career rewards and the overall quality of life are truly unmatched, but only if you can survive the housing gauntlet while capitalizing on the unparalleled tech and engineering growth. So, as you weigh your job offers for the year ahead, I'll leave you with this. Are you optimizing just for your salary, or are you strategizing to actually survive the missing middle?